Hey techies, welcome to Elephant Code. If you are new to the channel, do not forget to like, share and subscribe.
Hello, welcome back to Elfin Code channel. So today we are going to start with a new series. This is on Docker. So today we are going to post the first post from the Docker series. And in this post, basically we will try to understand how we can write certain Docker commands, which are very essential. And we'll see how we can pull the image, create the container, open the container in a bash shell or in an interactive shell, write some Python program or simple Python command, and then how we can see all those running containers, how we can stop the containers, or I mean, if there's a container which is being running, then how we can make use of that container to open an interactive shell and all those things. So I have kept all those things in the agenda, but before that, let us understand what exactly Docker container is. Okay, so let's say you have a Python program and you want to ship that program to some other computer. So what exactly you need? You need your program, you need all the dependency which is required to run your program, okay, to another system. So you'll ship that program, ship all the requirement, and then that system you need to run all your dependencies, the Python interpreter, and then you'll run the program. So all this thing you need to do it. Now here in this case, what is happening, this is this Docker container, it help you to create a kind of package your Python program along with all those things which are needed to run your program in a image. Okay, so you create a image, then on the basis of that image you create a container. Okay, so you create an image, you send it to another computer. Okay, that computer will create a container on the basis of all the information which you have kept in the image file. Okay, so those information could be your code, your all the dependency, how you will be running that program. So those commands and everything will be there in your Python, in your Docker image, and with the help of those instruction which is there in the image, you will create a container, and that container will you will run that container, and that container will help you to instantiate your program. So that is how it is being used. The all these containers are independent of what kind of operating system on which it is running. So underlying operating system, it is not tightly coupled with. So in one system, let's say I'm creating a kind of image on a window machine, the same thing can be run in the iOS as well. Okay, so let us see. I mean, we'll do some practice on the command, and thereafter it will be very easy to understand this Docker. Okay, so let us see first. So I was saying about the image. Okay, now image, it's like if you are writing some Python program, you can always create a kind of image for your program. Okay, but here in this post, I'm not going to create a kind of image on the basis on top of my program. Instead, what I will be doing, I'll try to create a container. Okay, that container will be acting as a Python interpreter, okay, for some of my Python program. So when I'm writing Python program, I need to select the interpreter, correct? So my machine should be having a Python installed, then only I can run my program, correct? But here in this case, what I will be doing, I'll create a Python interpreter container. So while I'm writing a Python program, I'll make use of that container as an interpreter for my program. Okay, so my program will start running in that container, okay, for that purpose. But we will be doing this thing in some later post. But in this post, we are just trying to create a container which is nothing but a Python container, Python interpreter present in it. Okay, now we already have, there's one more thing which is existing in Docker, which is called as Docker Hub. So Docker Hub is already having lots of images there. Okay, lots of images like Spark images there, Iceberg images there, Python images there, and so many other images are already provided by Docker Hub. So we can pull all those existing image to create our own container. Okay, so first thing would be kind of pulling that image from the Docker Hub to your local. Okay, before doing all this thing, I must say that your system should have a minimum of Docker desktop installed. Okay, that is a kind of prerequisite to do all this practical. Okay, let me show you the Docker desktop. So this is my Docker desktop. This is consisting of container, image, volumes, build, and rest of the things. Okay, we will see how we can. First thing is we need to get the image from Docker Hub to local. Okay, I already have one image, so let me do one thing. Let me first is any okay, everything is already stopped. Okay, so let me do one thing. Let me remove all these containers, and then I will remove the existing image. Okay, so don't actually go into this command, because I'm just using command to remove all the docker ps-a-q. Okay, so this is going to remove all the, okay. Now if you see here, now I don't have any container existing. Okay, so what I did, I write some program or I write some command to remove all the container which are present, which were present in my containers, okay, in the Docker Hub. Okay, now what I can do, I can just go and delete this image, because we need to do it completely fresh. Okay, so now the first thing which I will be doing, let me clear this window. Okay, the first thing which I will be doing is to bring the image from the Docker Hub to the local. So for this, what I will do, I'll just say Docker pull, I want Python image. Okay, so it will be pulling me the latest Python image from the Docker Hub. Okay, so right now if you see, there's nothing in the image. Okay, so once that is being pulled, I will be getting a local, I mean I'll be getting a list which will consist of the local, the image which is being pulled from the hub. Okay, Docker Hub. So let us wait. It takes a little time to bring that image from Docker Hub to local. So you can say it is downloading. So once it is downloaded, then it will also pull it to the local. Let's wait for some more time. Okay, so this is the image, and on the basis of this image, we will be creating a container. Okay, so right now there is no container available, but once the image comes to our local, we will be using a certain command to create a container. And then a lot of other thing as well. I mean, volume is also there, which we can mount it, but we will learn all those things in later part of the series. But here we are just trying to focus on certain command which are very essential to start the Docker. So you understood. Okay, now image is nothing but a kind of a file which consists of all the information that is required to create a container. Okay, so let's say if you are writing some program, so all those details of how you can make use of that program or how to run that program, every instruction is being placed in the Docker file, I mean which is built to create a image. So it will be consistent of where is the code, what all dependencies required, and how to run that program. So all those information will be, and which interpreter it should be using. So all those information are there in the image. Okay, so now our image has already been pulled from the Docker Hub to the local. So here you can see it has already appeared. Okay, so now we can go and see it has already been pulled. So all the pulls are completed. Okay, now let us do one thing. Let us create a kind of first container. So if I want to create a container, so what I will be doing, I'll just cite a command docker run and image. Okay, so this is my image which I pulled. So here you can say the image name is Python. So I'll say that docker run Python. So this will be creating a container for me. Okay, so I just executed this. Now if I see in my Docker desktop, so I'll be having one container. Okay, this is a container which is already exited, but I mean it has already been created. Okay, now these names are nothing but being taken by the system by default. Okay, now let's suppose if I want to create a container in an interactive shell, I mean with an interactive shell, we can directly go and write some kind of program or command on it. So that also I can do it. So I'm trying to create a new container in a interactive manner. Okay, so here if you give hyphen it, so it will open an interactive shell, and this will keep your container running until you exit from the interactive shell. Okay, so here if you see, now we have two different containers. One is already exited, the other one is still running. Why? Because we have opened an interactive shell inside the Docker container. Okay, so here you can execute any Python command. This is fantastic. Okay, so this is how you can create a container with the interactive cell. Okay, so I'm trying to exit from this, and then okay, so here if you see, I've already exited from the container. Okay, now let's say if I want to open a container in a bash, I mean open the container, and inside the container I want to go to the bash shell. So what I'll do, I'll just trying to create a new container again. Docker run Python bin bash. So it will, okay. Okay, so now if you see, it took me to the bash shell. Okay, so here if you see ewd, so you can see I have a root directory here, and then inside this also again you can go to the interpreter and do certain thing. Hello, I am inside bash shell of interpreter contain. Okay, so likewise you can do it. So like I mean, if you see here, I mean this is the latest container which was created using the Python image, and it has opened me a bash shell, and inside the bash shell I went to the Python interpreter, and then I'm doing something here. Okay, so now okay, so now what we can do, I mean till now you see that so I'm already exited from this container, so all the containers which we have created are in the exited state. Okay, now what we will be doing, we will try to create a container and attach a name to that container. So far what we have done, we were using some default name to get the container created, but now we will try to put a name to the container. Okay, so let us write an um, Python run -it, and then I'll say I want to name this container as my py container. Okay, so and then I'll say I want to create this container with the help of this Python image. Okay, so if I press this, okay, okay, sorry, it is my mistake. There's no as, so it is like docker run it hyphen name. This is my name of the container, and this container is being created on top, I mean with the help of this image, which is nothing but Python image. Okay, so this will create a container with this name, my py container. So let us go to the docker desktop to see. Yeah, so it has created a container with my defined name. Okay, so if let's say I want to do something, print test. Okay, so likewise you can always create a container. Okay, now okay, there's one more thing. Let's say if you want to, okay, one more thing which I want to show you is ps docker ps. Okay, now this docker ps will be showing all the container which are running container. Okay, there's one more content one more command, docker ps -a. Okay, so now this will list out all the container which are present in your docker desktop. So these are the 4 or 5 different container which we created using docker run command. So all those containers are being displayed here. Okay, so these are the name of the container. If you just need container id, so you can always have docker ps -a-q. So this will list out all the container id for you. Okay, now one more thing which we can do is so let me what else we can do, let me check the agenda what is there next to cover. So this is done, create container and give a name to the container, which is fine. So let's go. Okay, so this is one more thing. I mean, let's suppose if I want to create a container, okay, and I don't want to open interactive shell. Instead, I mean, as I was saying that this container, we will be using it as an interpreter in our Visual Studio. Okay, so our container should be keep running. Then only, I mean, its status should be always running. Then only we can make use of this container as an interpreter in our Visual Studio Code, correct? So for that, we need to create a container. Okay, container, and we'll say that this container, you detach this container from the current terminal and run it in the background. Okay, so it will keep running, and it will keep running and never sleep. Okay, so the command for doing this is -d docker run -d indicates that you need to create this container in a detached mode. Okay, which tells that this container will not be I mean detach this container and keep running it in the background. Okay, and yeah, so let me just show you docker docker -d run python and sleep infinity infinity. Okay, docker, I have a mistake in my command, docker run, then I'll say -d, which is a detached mode, and then I'll say I want to create a docker container using the Python image. So let me give the name also to this container, name my always running container. Okay, so now here if you see I have one container created. Okay, this is nothing but my container ID. So let's say if I want to see docker ps, so I can see that this is the container which is up from 15 second. Okay, so this is the container name, my always running container. The same thing which we can also see in the docker here. So here if you see my always running container which is already in a running state for last 33 second. Okay, so yeah, I mean if you want to see all the containers which are available in my docker desktop, so what we can do, docker ps hyphen a. Okay, so here it lists out all the containers which are available in my docker desktop. Okay, out of all these, this is the only one which is visible. Okay, now what else is remaining from the topic? Okay, uh, okay, now since my docker container is running, I want that container to I mean I want to make use of that container to open a bash shell. Okay, so let me do one thing. Let me go to my terminal and I'll say docker exec and my container name, let's say if I want to open it in a hyphen it, and my container name always running. Okay, and I want to open a bash. Okay, there's some problem with this command. Let me just check out docker exec. Okay, let me just check. It was correct. My always running oh, where is that my always running container? Yeah, docker exec hyphen it. I missed. It was my mistake. I forgot to put hyphen. Okay, why it is saying unable to start the process? No, sir. Docker exec dock, yeah, docker exec hyphen it, my container name. Okay. So where I'm doing mistake, docker exec hyphen it, my Python container is exactly the same. Docker exec, is the spelling correct? Exec, docker exec hyphen it, and this is the container name which is running, and bash. Oh, this is the mistake. I mean bin bash. I mean I write bash bin. Oh, come on, bin bash. Okay, so here I did the mistake. Okay, now inside I'm already inside the bash shell, so I can just initiate an interactive shell with Python, and then I'll say that okay, I am inside the bash container. Okay, so I can have like this. Now if you see our docker desktop, so this is still running, my always running. Okay, so even if I try to exit, this is still running. Even if I try to exit, so I'm exited, still you can find it running. Why? Because it is created with a detached mode. Okay, and sleep infinity. So if I do ps docker ps docker ps, I'm doing all this mistake, docker ps, so I can see I mean my docker container is already in running. Okay, and if I want to see all the containers which are present in my docker desktop, so what I can do, docker slash ps so docker ps slash a. Okay, so here it will list out all the containers which are available in my docker desktop. Okay, now let's suppose I want to stop all the containers. Okay, so what I can do, I'll just write first docker I'll get the container ID first. Okay, I want to stop all the containers which are running. Okay, so there's only one container which is running up from 6 minutes. So this I want to kill or kind of stop. Okay, so what I can do, Docker. Okay, Docker first. First, I'll try to get the container ID. Docker slash hyphen a hyphen q. Okay, so it is giving me all the container ID. Now I'll pass this container ID to the command which will be stopping all the containers. Okay, so I'll say that, okay, Docker stop, and then I'll say dollar, and I'll say Docker ps hyphen a hyphen q. Okay, so this way we will be able to stop all the running container. So here if you see, there's one running container. Okay, prior to run this Docker command. Okay, now if you see, okay, now here if you see, all the Docker container are in a exit state. Okay, same way if you want to, let's say, remove all the containers. Okay, okay, so what I can do is just rm. Okay, Docker rm and then container id. Okay, so if I do this, then if I do this, Docker ps, Docker ps hyphen a. So here you see there is no container available. Even in the Docker container also, since we have removed all the containers, so nothing is available here in this container tab. Okay, let us see if we have covered everything. Yeah, Docker stop is already done. Docker ps hyphen a hyphen q is already done. I mean, it will list out all the containers which are available in your Docker desktop. Along with it will list out, I mean, hyphen q is like it will just list out all the container id. Okay, so that is how you can create a container with the help of any image, and how you can open the interactive shell, bash shell, that is also being explained in this post. Okay, so in the next post we'll try to install some of the very lightweighted editor, and also create a kind of small Python program, and then run that command in the container. Okay, so let us wait for that video to come up. For now you can go for the quiz. Yeah.
Elephant quiz of the day. What is Docker? Option A, a programming language. Option B, a platform for developing, shipping, and running applications in containers. Option C, an operating system. Or option D, a web server. Please mention your answers in the comment section below. So that is it for today's video. Thank you for watching. Do subscribe Elephant Code for future updates.